The 7 slats, vertical slats in the grille, mean only one brand and one name, and that's Jeep. But this is a pretty large Jeep, as you can see. It's the Wrangler Unlimited Sahara Edition. Retails at 540,990 Rand. It's a large, pretty much family vehicle, but of course you can see the stance, you can see those big wheels, and you can tell this is a pretty rugged off-road vehicle as well. Coming around, some interesting features on the vehicle. The first thing is, take a look at the split tailgate effect. And you have the lower piece that swings out, and the upper glass that lifts up to your boot area. A very large boot area, but there is something, because this vehicle, you can remove the roof in various sections. And then you have a soft top, which is this whole construction over here, which you can fold up and use separately. Have to admit, I didn't try and use it because it's a pretty cumbersome operation and a pretty large operation, and particularly the rear segment of the roof is pretty big and large to remove, so didn't try it, but love to do it if you're really off-roading, but does obviously make your loading of a large boot area a little bit more complicated. The V6 3.6 litre engine puts out a full 209 kilowatts and 347 newton meters of torque. So yes, obviously got all the power you could ever want to go off-road or to cruise very comfortably on-road as well at the national speed limits. You really don't have a problem there. Fuel consumption, well-quoted figures are pretty high. According to certain motoring magazines, you can look at 12, 14 litres per 100 kilometers, but that's not what you buy a vehicle like this for. You want to enjoy it, you want to go off-road, you want to have fun, and you want to have the legendary toughness. That would be why you buy a Jeep. Okay. Behind the wheel of the Jeep Wrangler, again, a big space to be in. If you look up above me, I mentioned earlier the removable roof panels. Well, there are these levers you turn and swing and you play with, and quite a job, but once it's done, you can see this massive construction roll bar safety feature that is built in, so you would be pretty safe if you did so. Lots of Jeep cues inside the vehicle as well. Of course, you've got the rounded aircon vents, which are so standard of Jeep. You've got on the passenger grab handle saying Jeep since 1941, and a funny little touch is above the rear view mirror over here. Can you see the recreation of the front grille even? So you've got all those Jeep cues. Instrumentation wise, well, this is an older vehicle that's been updated a number of times, so you've got everything you need in front of you, but maybe not as much electronics and gadgetry as one has come to expect. But you know what? For a rough, tough vehicle, maybe being more basic is a great idea. You've got your cruise control buttons on the steering wheel, as is pretty much standard these days, and they're there. Didn't really get a chance to use them, I have to be honest, on this test. Your windows, you have electric windows all round, and the buttons are actually here on the center console. Just different, something one needs to get used to. Nice and high up, so they're easy. You've got a good sized touch screen over here, which does have your radio settings, it does have your telephone settings if you set up your phone, which I didn't do on this vehicle, but they're all there, so you have all of those. Down to your full air conditioning, of course, and then down here, of course, you have hill descent control, and you can switch out your ESP system. Your choice if you want to try and risk something like that. Down here, 5-speed automatic gearbox. With such a big engine, with that 347 newton meters of torque, plenty power for a 5-speed gearbox. It works very well generally. And then, of course, over here, the good old-fashioned transfer box, which takes you from 2 high through 4 high, and of course into 4-wheel drive low mode, which I did use on a very short little stretch, and let me tell you, very effective. One thing I will point out is it needs a pretty strong and heavy hand to move it through those different modes, but it's there, and it's obviously you don't want to move it into one of those modes by accident, so definitely necessary. Beyond that, got all the mod cons like cup holders and a nice big cubby hole console down here under your arm with a good armrest as well, so you're pretty comfortable there. Let's see what life would be like in the back seat of this vehicle, which is, as I keep stressing, a large sized vehicle. in the back seat of the Wrangler. Just the word is space. All round, doesn't matter which way you want to look at it, how you look at it. Space is the word that comes to mind and counts in every sense. Again, you've got that massive roll bar. You've got another one above the rest of the back seat as well. So safety is inherent. Neat as well, you've got speakers built into the roll cage as well. So your sound system obviously is important. If you're going off-road, if you're going to enjoy the vehicle and have a bit of fun with it, you've got all of those. Space, definitely 3 in the back seat. So it's a good 5-seater family vehicle if you want to treat it that way. The thing I find impressive about this is it is so versatile. It has so many roles it can fill. Can be your family vehicle. It is definitely a hardcore off-roader if you want it, with that low-range 4-wheel drive, hill descent control, all of those available to you. So it's very much a case of you take your choice on how you want to live and use the Jeep Wrangler. The automatic gearbox definitely would make life a lot more pleasant if you were going to use it around town as well and use it as your family vehicle. There is obviously so much competition in this segment of the market that I could go on for hours talking about the competitors. But we all know the legendary toughness of Jeep. And if you're looking for a vehicle that you are really going to take off-road and use off-road, you must put this one on your shortlist.